All right, folks. So we just made a movie about Jose Vega, who has gone viral many a time for his in-person peaceful interventions against media personalities, politicians, office holders. And those are great. We've seen a wave of those, especially these past few months, which is obviously great to see. But we saw this week an intervention of a different kind on an Adam Schiff campaign Zoom call. We saw a virtual intervention where ceasefire protesters crashed the Zoom meeting. Let's take a look at how that went down.
Understand the ballot when you get it.
This is a campaign Zoom call, and look at all the ceasefire nows in the chat. And then if you go here,
special election for the remaining 2 months of Senator Feinstein's term, because LaFonza Butler's term ends in November, and then there's a 2-month period until January when the new senator is sworn in. So you will be asked on the ballot, who do you want for the 2 months? And then you'll be asked in a separate place on the ballot, who do you want for the new 6-year term? And I've had friends reach out who are
kind of hard to ignore, but he's a pro.
Say, I don't know what to do. Am I supposed to vote for you twice?
Well, he's had a lot of practice ignoring the voters.
Yes, and ignoring the truth.
Among other things,
Adam Schiff.
Yep. All right, so you see how that goes. Now, why are they doing that to Adam Schiff? Well, Adam Schiff is obviously running in a jungle primary in California to be the next senator of the state, and he is running against Barbara Lee and Katie Porter. He is the only one of those three to not have called for a ceasefire. Barbara Lee called for a ceasefire on October 8th, so she was out in front. Katie Porter's position is a bit more milquetoast, which is not hard to see coming. But Adam Schiff was the only one who says no ceasefire. So here's his answer in the California Senate debate. This is from a few weeks ago.
You have not called for a ceasefire. Why do you think that Congresswoman Lee is wrong?
Well, first of all, I go back to October 7th, to the brutal murder of 1,200 people. And not just murder, but rape and torture. The magnitude of that horror is still shocking to me. No country...
The magnitude of that horror is still shocking. Well, the magnitude of the Israeli response is what's shocking to me, right? Again, I don't wish upon anybody any kind of violence or harm, but Israel has now killed about 30 times the amount of people who died on October 7th. So if you're shocked by the magnitude of October 7th, why are you not shocked by the magnitude? And
wait till you hear about what they're doing in Gaza.
Yeah, exactly.
And let me just remind our viewers. I have a particular loathing for Adam Schiff. This is the guy who ran around literally just bold-faced lying that they had a smoking gun on Trump for Russiagate, which was, of course, revealed to be completely false. Right. So this guy is just the absolute fucking scum of the earth. And it's a good example. It's the same reason I really hate, and I'm in good company, Nancy Pelosi, because these people are fucking criminals in broad daylight. And they just run around with absolutely no consequences for their actions. Why was this guy not censured? He lied to the American public about a matter of vital national interest.
Not only was he not censured, he's winning. Because what do I say? Democratic primary voters, stupid. The guy's running. This is supposed to be a progressive state, right? Liberal, hippie California. You got 2 ceasefire candidates in the race, 1 anti-ceasefire candidate in the race. Guess who's winning? Adam Schiff. You know why? Because Nancy Pelosi told them to vote for Adam Schiff, and they do what they're told. Okay, here's more.
Yep.
After having been attacked by terrorists like Israel was on October 7th, no country could refuse to defend itself. It has a duty to defend itself, and I think the United States should support Israel in defending itself. We also should work with Israel to reduce the number of civilian casualties. And my heart breaks for all the Palestinians who have lost lives, all the families that have lost lives.
No, it doesn't. Your heart doesn't break for them. If your heart breaks for them, you'd be calling for a ceasefire. That's enough already. It's enough already. He goes on.
View incompatible with human nature to grieve the loss of both innocent Palestinians as well as innocent Israelis. I support a 2-state solution. We have to get back to a road to a 2-state solution, but Israel has to defend itself. We can't leave Hamas governing Gaza. They're still holding over 100 hostages, including Americans. I don't know how you can ask any nation to cease fire when their people are being held by a terrorist organization.
This is such a straw man argument that ceasefire protesters don't want the hostages released. That would obviously be part of the deal. So the idea is you call a ceasefire and then you negotiate a hostage release. Because, yes, Israelis are being held hostage, and I do want the hostages returned safely home. But also, Israel is holding people in Gaza hostage. There are children in prison for throwing a rock at an Israeli tank. So the idea is we cease fire and then we negotiate a hostage release where the Israeli hostages get to come home and the children in Israeli jails for bullshit crimes that aren't really crimes get to come home. But the first step to that is a ceasefire because hundreds of innocent people are being killed every day. And so if you have a human heart, you understand that step one is obviously a ceasefire, and obviously no ceasefire would hold without a hostage release. Nobody's saying give up on the hostages. It's just a complete bullshit straw man argument.
Well, we showed on the show the other day how a group did a demonstration where they laid out children's clothes on a beach to demonstrate how many children have been killed by Israel's actions in Gaza. And it was mind-blowing because it just went on and on and on.
5 kilometers.
On. 5 kilometers of children's clothing laid out side by side. So that's what we're really talking about. And I have absolutely no patience for these people. You know, we talked a little bit about Kucinich on Jimmy's show, and I focused on the Nancy Pelosi insider trading thing. But you're right. His answer on Israel was actually much worse. Because I went back and
not my friends. My friends don't kill children. I don't know about you. I don't know about your friends. I don't know who you hang out with.
We have to talk to our friend. No, now I went back and watched it again. And yeah, he talks about how we have to, on the one hand and on the other hand, we have to talk to Israel, but we have to fund the relief in Gaza. Okay, you know, that's why I said wasn't the best way to help the Palestinians to cut off the funding to Israel. All this, that's why it reminded me of the Apocalypse Now line where he says it was a way we had here of cutting them in half with a machine gun and then giving them a Band-Aid. Right. You're gonna fund the people. You're gonna fund the genocide, and you're gonna fund the relief efforts.
Right.
It makes absolutely no sense morally.
No. Or financially for all of the deficit hawks, right? You're so worried about saving money rather than pour money into the relief efforts for the genocide and pour money into the genocide. You realize how much money you could save? All the Rand Pauls out there, how much money could you save by preventing the genocide? Because then you don't have to fund the genocide or the relief effort because there's no genocide. How about that? How's that for a deal? How's that for a bargain?
Right. Yeah, when these people go up there and try to talk about how much they care about the Palestinians, but they want to continue to support Israel, that's a nonsensical position.
Yeah, it's nonsense. It's fucking nonsense. It's just horrible. 100 children a day are being killed now. It was more than that. It was faster paced than that. But sorry.
When Anthony Blinken went up there to talk about that, you could really see how lacking in human feeling he is, where he had to kind of like pretend to care. It was so obvious he did not care. Yes, we feel terrible for these people. Like he clearly had absolutely no feeling for those people. If you did, you couldn't be in his job.
Yeah, how could you?
Not with the way this is the policies are being set. Nobody, you've already had people resign. Only the worst people are going to stay and be complicit in this policy.
Exactly. That's a good point. You've already had hundreds of government staffers say, I can't do this, including, I mean, that exodus really started in Anthony Blinken's own department. Those were State Department employees that actually walked out.
Please clap.